Welcome back to Confidence in Business. I'm Chelsea Bench, and we are here today with Brandie Brown, who has her own fitness and tanning studio. So, first of all, tell us just a little bit about yourself, like just likes and dislikes and things like that. Where you're from?
Yes, my name is Brandie Brown, like Chelsea said, and I am from a little small town called Moulton, Iowa. Grew up there, born and raised there. I went to school 1 year in Louisiana and majored in psychology. And like Chelsea said, I own a fitness studio and an airbrush tanning studio now. Likes and dislikes. Likes, obviously working out, instructing classes, going to the beach, family time. I don't have a lot of dislikes.
That's good.
I'm trying to think. Oh, winter. Iowa winter.
Oh, yeah.
Is a dislike.
Yeah, those are pretty harsh.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm not too picky.
Awesome. So you started the Beyond Fitness in 2013, right?
Yes. So I was Zumba certified in 2013.
So tell us about that certification process and how you decided that you wanted to start a studio or start teaching.
Yes. So I had went to school in Louisiana and took a Zumba class, and I'm like, I love this class. And I'm not a dancer. I did not grow up dancing. I don't even dance at weddings. Like that, people are shocked by that. I am the shyest. I don't get on the dance floor. I don't like it. And I took the class in Louisiana and I loved it. And then I moved back here and I was like, nobody teaches Zumba here. And I missed it. And so then I got Zumba.com, researched, and found a training in Des Moines. And I thought to myself, if I don't like it, if I'm not good at it, I'll never have to teach it. I'm just gonna take the training, see what it's about, and go from there. So then one day in February, 8 to 6 o'clock in the evening, we danced, we learned steps, we learned rhythms, we talked about class presence and teaching, and I loved it. So then that was February. Came back home, worked on 16 songs, and then mid-March, I think I taught my first class, and then here we are. And then Beyond Fitness came a couple years later once I added some classes. Okay. I just had the Facebook page. I think it was called Fit with B or something like that. But so then Beyond Fitness kind of followed in the next coming years. Mm-hmm. But it did all start with Zumba.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So the certification was just one day?
Yes.
Just a couple hours?
Yes, it was. One day we danced, sweat, changed into 3 different outfits. It was just, it was sweaty. And then after that, I was done. And then I was like I said, I never have to teach this if I don't want to. But 5 years later, here we are.
So fun.
Yes.
Is there an ongoing certification for Zumba, or how does that?
Yeah, so I have a monthly membership, and that's how I get like the music, some choreography, and then they offer, little videos and trainings online.
Okay.
And then, so after the basic Zumba certification, you can add on. So if you want to teach Zumba kids, you go to another live training. And so I've done that one. And then if you want to teach Zumba for, elderly people, that's called Zumba Gold, and you can take that training. And if you want to do the Strong by Zumba, you go ahead and take that training. And so they're always offering new trainings, new music, tips and tricks and tools for teaching classes and keeping things up to date. So yeah, they're very good about continuing education. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you able to pick your own music though? Or do you have to just use what they give you?
No, they ask that 70% of your playlist is Zumba music, and the rest, the 30%, can be your fun stuff. And they said, it can't be 70% Pitbull and then it's a Zumba class.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be the original, different styles, flavors.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
yes.
So tell us about your first class that you did here, and where did you do it at? Did you do it in your basement or at a friend's house? Or?
My first class that I ever taught?
That you taught, yeah.
So I was still living in Moulton at the time, really small. And that's where I went to high school. And so I used their gym. And the sound in gyms are just not like the best. And I was so nervous, and I didn't face them the entire time. We had no mirrors. And I don't even know what it was like. If I could go back and take that class, I would love to know what it looked like. But they loved it, and so I taught there for a while. And so yeah, it was in the school of it was in the gym of my old high school. Mm-hmm. And I continued it there for that spring and summer. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you just tell your friends and family? Was it free, or did you charge right away? Or
yes, your first class has always been free. In the studio now, your first week is free, but I've always had this thing of like, come the first time and see if you ever want to come back. Mm-hmm. And so everyone got to come for free their first time, and it was it was a good time. And Facebook, huge thing. Mm-hmm. Of course, friends and family knew, and they spread the word, but then that's when I started that Facebook page. I think it was first Zumba with Brandie is the page. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would post on that, and people would tell their friends, and you know. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth for sure.
Were there any anxieties or anything that you were struggling with, or like fears like starting up, or was it just like, if I like it, I'm gonna do it, and if not, I'm not, or like tell us about that, like.
Oh yeah, the first class I was so nervous. Like I still get nervous, but first class just shaking. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. I don't know if I can teach a class. And I remember like being so out of breath second or third song in, just because the anticipation and
well, you have to talk through it to tell us, you know, what to do, which that, I mean, doing the moves for me right now is hard enough. And so I can't imagine, you know, telling the moves.
Yes, and I was nervous, and I still get nervous. There's a lot of anxieties and nervousness that comes with everything that I do in here. Mm-hmm. From each Zumba class, I've been teaching for 5 years, but I still get nervous. Mm-hmm. And like a new song, I get nervous. Mm-hmm. Or when I try a new event, or even Saturday classes, I'm nervous. Mm-hmm. Like, who's even in town this Saturday? Probably no one will come. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just a lot of nerves. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you work through that? Do you just try to put them aside and just do it, or do you have a breathing technique, or like how do you work through those nerves and anxieties to actually like accomplish what you want?
Back then I was just going full force in. I just did it, and I think I was younger, and so I just had this idea like, if I don't need to do this if I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. It was kind of more of like a fun thing. Now, when I get nervous or anxieties pop up, breathing techniques for sure, and just knowing, like always remembering why I do what I do, regardless of who is here or how things go. Mm-hmm. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's probably really good to remember the why, because it's, you know, kind of like bigger than yourself.
Yes.
And that helps.
Yep, exactly.
So that's awesome. So you have done Zumba, and you also do yoga though. So tell us about how that got started.
Oh yeah. Moved to Des Moines. So I had the psychology degree, and I'm like, I have to use it because that's what you do nowadays. You get your 4-year degree and you get a job in your field. And so I worked at a group home in Des Moines for troubled teens. And I was like, okay, this is my chance to find a workout that I enjoy. I was still teaching Zumba at a Gold's Gym just a couple days a week, so I had some free time. And I saw a studio called Power Life Yoga Studio. So joined it and fell in love with it. Took classes 3-4 times a week, just started feeling the benefits, the physical benefits, emotional, spiritual benefits, everything. But I said to myself, okay, Brandie, this is one class that you won't teach. You will enjoy it and you will be a student and you will learn, but you will not get certified to teach this class. Like, this is going to be just for enjoyment. and you will not teach it. So I told myself that, and then once again, got a job back home, moved here, looked around, no one teaches yoga here. And so then I start researching, because that's what I do. I find something and I have a hard time, and maybe this is a good quality, but I want to be in charge of it. Like when I came back here, I just wanted to teach yoga. Like I wanted to teach Zumba. I wanted people to experience it. So I wanted to take it over. And so I searched for a yoga training and found one in Kirksville, Missouri, which is like 45 minutes away. And it was a 200-hour Yoga Alliance certified. And if you look those up, one, they're not easy to find locally. They're not every weekend in Iowa. They're not every weekend in Missouri. If you go to California for one, it's like $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was super lucky. There was a girl from Michigan that was going to Truman State University in Kirksville. She was moving, but she was offering this certification before she left. And it was summertime. And so I signed up. It was more affordable for this area. And it was a 200-hour intensive summertime training. So I started, this was a year ago. So it was Memorial Day weekend. We went 5 days straight, 12-hour days.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and then we came back in June, did that, 5 days, 12-hour days. Came back in July, 5 days, 12-hour days. And you think that yoga pants are comfy until you wear them that long. They are not comfy. By the end of the evening, 8 o'clock at night, I needed to peel my pants off. My sports bra felt so tight. Like, it is. And so then I was certified, and here we are. I started teaching. I kind of started teaching a little before my certification was completed, and then went head first once I was fully certified, teaching like a vinyasa flow, and then the sculpt class with weights, and kind of a more beginner's class, because in Centerville yoga is just not very much practiced or heard of, and so people really enjoy like the beginners walk me through this type of class.
Yeah.
So that's how yoga came about. I swore I wasn't going to teach it.
Here you are.
Yep.
Well, and I love Zumba, and I've done it before back home, so I was super glad to find you. And then I was even more glad that you taught yoga, because I love it. And yeah, I mean, I noticed that it was hard to find people teaching even just any fitness class at all. So
yes, I was wondering, where did you go anywhere else before, or did you kind of
when
try?
I would work out, I would just either like run around the neighborhood, or we had passes to the Y for a while, and we would go there.
Yes. Yeah.
But I like this setting because it gets me here, because whether you really care or not that I'm here, like I know you're gonna notice when I'm not here, you know, so it's like, okay, I better go.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I mean, I enjoy it, but you know, for someone who, I just started working out again in July, I think when I first came, June or July, and it was like a year and a half, you know, and so it's just hard to get back into it, you know. So it's nice for me to like have a group setting, to like have you who like knows me now.
You're a little more accountable.
Yes.
Held accountable.
Yeah. So, and all the options that you have are really nice, because it keeps it fresh. And keeps it, you know, just
new.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so you said you started teaching Zumba. We're going to go back just for a second, at the high school that you went to. And then before you had this studio, though, you taught at a dance studio here in town, right?
Yeah.
And so since you said you didn't dance, how did you get in contact with the owner of that and get that set up to rent that space?
Yeah, so I'll walk you through a little journey. So I started in Moulton teaching at the high school. At the same time, Snap Fitness here was opening, and I was kind of friends with the manager, so I said, hey, they had a little multi-purpose room. I don't know if you've been there, but it's a little mirror, little room. I said, hey, will you give me a chance to teach this? Like, if it doesn't work out, we don't have to do it. I just want experience. So while teaching in Moulton, I also taught at Snap Fitness here. I mean, starting out, I think I had 2 people, and taught in Moulton, taught in Snap Fitness, moved to Des Moines, taught at Gold's Gym, came back here, And when I did take dance for a year in junior high, I did dance at Buffy's, which is where I was. And we just kind of knew each other from that. And I saw her in Subway one day, and she was like, hey, if you ever, need a bigger space to teach at, because that was the problem at Snap Fitness. I knew that I wanted to grow, and when your walls are small, you are not going to grow.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. And so I said, okay, I will, we'll chat. And so we kind of negotiated a little bit, and I started renting it from her when she wasn't in there teaching dance. And so that's how I got to Buffy's dance department. And so, I mean, I will be forever grateful for her asking me to do that. I mean, she didn't have to. She didn't have to share her studio, and she did with open arms.
Yeah, that's super nice.
Yes.
That's super nice.
Very much.
So what made you decide to get your own studio then versus just keep renting from her? And tell us about that process, about how you found this studio.
Yes. So when I moved back here, I took a job as a case manager. That's kind of like social work. And I was working from home and was teaching at Buffy's. And you would think like, perfect. You get to work from home. It was a good job. Oh my goodness. But then it was like not fulfilling at all. I was experiencing more anxiety than I ever had in my entire life. And I was just like, I don't like the way this feels. And Garrett and I, my husband, we have land here in town. We have a few lots that we bought a year ago today, actually.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And the ultimate goal was to build a studio, because everywhere is very on the square. Everything is very narrow, as you can tell. This building goes like all the way back and not very wide. And so we looked at a couple buildings. Nothing worked. So I was like, let's have land and let's just build. And then you look at how expensive that is, and you look at how young we are, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be years before this happens. And so teaching at Buffy's, working this case management job, it was a horrible winter last year. Anxiety was high, and I was just like I don't like I said, I don't like the way this feels. So I actually quit my job in February of last year. And I taught classes. I started doing more like private yoga sessions. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not that. And I saw a sign in this window that said, for rent, call this number. So we called this number and we came in and looked, and like, it was like, it's pretty long, it's spacious enough. And so then we kind of, thought about it and prayed about it. And I just told Garrett, I'm like, I could make it work. If that's what we get, I can make it work. And so then I was in my mother-in-law's hair salon getting my hair trimmed. It was April, I think. And Garrett comes in and he's just holding these keys. And he's like, here's your keys. And I'm like, my keys to what? And he's like, the building. And so then, of course, happy tears and everything. We came up here and started cleaning right away, and we laid the floor and we painted and just kind of started to make this our own. And man, it's been a whirlwind ever since. So then that was April. We worked on it all of May.
Was that April last year or this year?
This year.
Okay.
Yes. And then I think my first class here was Monday, June 4th.
So I came at one of your first classes here.
Yes.
Then.
Yeah, you were
okay. I guess I didn't realize that. Oh, that's cool.
You were like, yeah, I thought that's kind of how you like, I thought that was your plan. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that, because some people didn't come at Buffy's just because they just felt it was like maybe for dance moms, or maybe felt not like they shouldn't go to the dance studio. I don't know. And so then some people started coming when I moved here. So I didn't know that was like your thing or not, but
well, I guess that makes sense, because I saw the sign, which you probably you wouldn't have had it up until you actually had the studio.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the journey into this studio.
Awesome.
Yes. very long and windy, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I think very rarely are things ever smooth, right?
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I've learned with construction, and here, my patience, that really grew my patience. Waiting on other people to paint and to lay the floor and to put the toilet in, like things I really need to learn how to do on my own someday, because waiting again, oh my goodness. It was all a learning process and growing and
Yeah. Did you pay Buffy like rent, or was she just nice enough to let you for free? Because that is something that I would probably like be nervous about, to like, well, you know, like you said, like I hope enough people come, because like I at least need to make rent or something.
Yes.
Or is that, I mean, was that free and like this is your first rent, or were you already, I guess, practicing paying rent with her, and so it was just an easier transition to your own space?
At Buffy's, I did pay her rent. She was very generous, though. I paid her like $200 a month, and usually got my rent paid with the people. You know, I was basically able to pay rent, but I just felt the need to like offer more classes. I felt the need to teach more. I felt the need to have different days and times that she was in her studio, so I couldn't use it. And so then coming here, I'm paying more, and but it feels so freeing to come in and leave whenever I want to, and hold a class, hold a special event, make it look and smell and feel the way that I want it to. But I mean, to say that it was financially stressful is very true. Yeah. Yeah, especially when I quit my job, you know, that day. But worth it. Just a challenge for sure.
But that's awesome, because you felt like it was the right thing to do, and you're like, we'll just figure it out.
Yes.
You know, like I might not have all the answers right now, but I'm gonna make it work.
Yes. And that's what I told Garrett. I'm like, I can do this. I kept telling him that, like, I can do this. I just need the tools, the space. Like I said, I promise you I can do this. And it was kind of like that do or die type of attitude. Like, I have to do it. There's nothing else that, there's no other option. So,
yeah.
And that's kind of where the airbrush tanning came in. I kind of added it as like a little, you know, like, I mean, I love getting airbrush tans, and I was never like really completely truly happy with the tan that I got whenever I would go somewhere local. So then again, I'm like, well, how about I do it? You know, I just can't. If I think that I can do something better, then I will try it. I don't know if that's a good attitude or a bad attitude to have, but I'm like, I need to try it. You know, like if I can offer someone a better, more peaceful, more fun, more affordable experience, then I will.
I think that's a great attitude.
Yeah, I hope so, because that's how I felt. You know, I could have moved back here and been content with just like taking, you know, little classes or working out at home over my TV, or, you know, but I have like this drive that I just think that I can do it better. And it's not like a hateful attitude. It's not like, you know, it's just like, I want to see if I can. Maybe it's more like challenging myself, but
yeah. Well, and I think it's really nice because like you do want to serve the community, you know? Like, and that, you know, with that drive, I don't know, that's really nice.
Yes.
You know, to have someone like you, you know, that like wants to serve, like, let's make it affordable, let's make it fun, let's make it convenient, let's make it better, you know?
Exactly. And that's what I hope people believe, because that's really my attitude about it, is I want to make people's experience just the best possible for this location and area. And you know, I know you could probably drive to Des Moines and get, you know, a harder yoga class or a spray tan that lasts longer, you know, but I'm like, for people here, I'm gonna do my absolute best to make this what they deserve, you know?
I don't know, the first class when I came, I thought you were trying to kill me because it was so hard for me in such a good way, you know?
Yes.
But I was like, Logan, oh my gosh, like, you know?
I know, but that's how I always say, if you go to a class that is easy, or that you can already do, or that you walk out feeling like, you know, I don't really need to go back because I can probably sweat more at my house, then I don't feel like I did my job. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are so afraid to like be challenged, but it's, you know, when I want you to pay money to be challenged.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It feels so good too. And I mean, already I can feel like I'm getting stronger or like some of the moves I had to do halfway because I just couldn't do it full out. I can do them full out now, or I can do them longer, or, you know. And it feels so good to like, I'm improving and I'm having fun doing so. Like, yeah, it is a challenge, but it's like such a good challenge.
Yes.
You know?
And I know that people think that I'm not watching them in class, but I can see like whenever, people, you know, who couldn't hold a plank pose can now hold a full plank pose for a minute, or people that modified their mountain climbers do them full out now, you know, like I see those little things and it just makes me so proud.
Yeah. Because it is, I mean, yes, it's us coming and putting in the work, but like I wouldn't be where I am today already, like without you, because I mean, for months, I was like, oh, I just need to work out at home. Like, I can do 30 minutes at home, and I have all these workout DVDs at home, and I still wouldn't do it, you know?
Yes.
And so, or I just need to run around the block. Like, I can do that, and I still wouldn't do it. So, like, yes, like, I'm coming here, and I'm taking the time, and I'm, you know, moving my body, but it really is, like, a huge thanks to you for having this open, you know, for people to come, and convenient, because I'm not going to drive to Des Moines, you know, 2 hours for a workout. So
exactly. Yes. Well, you're welcome. I love it.
I love it too. So I'm really glad. But yeah, let's talk about your airbrushing a little bit. So, you started that this year as well.
Yeah. Just this springtime. I got into it the perfect time. It was actually like February, right before prom season. So in Des Moines, when I lived in Des Moines, I would get them from a studio that used like an organic solution, because I have always believed, I think maybe this is why I got my degree in psychology, that you're kind of like all of your, so like emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual, all these bodies just make you, like they all work together to make you who you are. And so I think, you know, I get the physical part, and you know what I'm saying? Like I like to nurture the whole entire person. And so I used this natural organic tanning solution, and I loved it. The tans were beautiful, got them as much as I needed to or could or whatever. So then I came back here and I started researching, you know, the best, most natural organic solutions, found one that I liked. My mother-in-law used to do spray tans, and so she came over, and it was so awkward, but I recorded her spray tanning me. So then, and I just watched how she did it, and I practiced a lot on people. People were so kind to let me practice on them. And so I kind of added it just as like a compliment to the physical working out fitness aspect, just kind of like a natural way to get that glow, because you know, sometimes a tan just helps in winter, vacations, and there's so many healthier options of going at it than laying in a tanning bed and ruining your beautiful skin. So that's kind of where that came about too. And it's really fun. I mean, it's only like 30 minutes with the person total. You know, I spray them, they dry, but I love getting to know people. I mean, even if they are like half naked in front of me, I still love, you know, so what are you getting a tan for?